All right, good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining us today for the Travel Trade Manual, a planner for Indigenous tourism professionals. My name is Bianca Mitchell, and I am IANTA's Education Manager. For those of you who are not familiar with IANTA, for nearly 2 decades, IANTA has served as the national voice for American Indian nations and Native Hawaiians engaged in cultural tourism. In addition to serving as the voice for Indian country tourism, IANTA provides technical assistance and training to tribal nations and Native-owned enterprises engaged in cultural tourism, hospitality, and recreation. One of the greatest tools for our outreach and promotion of tribal tourism is our destination website, nativeamerica.travel. Currently, we have the Arizona State University Sustainable Tourism Cultural Heritage Certificate Program underway. Classes start in March, and we do have 15 Native Acts scholarships. If interested, please visit our website at ianta.org. At this time, I would like to introduce our first speaker, Sierra Green, who is the Visitor Outreach Manager for IANTA with her Master's of Science in Science Teaching from Portland State University and Bachelor of Science in Chemistry from Northern Arizona University. Her focus has been on promoting the protection and healing of Indigenous communities and homelands through culture, education, and science. Her experience in tourism has rapidly developed in the past 3 years, while her 15 years of experience in outreach and education, founded in interdisciplinary collaboration with tribal communities, institutions, agencies, organizations, and businesses, have propelled her career. At this time, Sierra.
Good morning, everyone. Tatsmewi. Welcome to our webinar for the Travel Trade Manual, a planner for Indigenous tourism professionals. We also have with us Sherry Rupert. Bianca, if you want to introduce Sherry as well, we can do that.
Yes, and we do have our CEO, Sherry Rupert. And hold on real quick, my computer's freezing.
Sherry, we can get to you to introduce yourself.
Yeah. So Sherry Rupert is Paiute and Washoe, and she has nearly 2 decades of executive level experience managing and promoting Native American tourism. Since joining IANTA as CEO in 2019, she has spearheaded several initiatives, including the organization's groundbreaking new tribal agritourism program and overseeing IANTA's first ever virtual American Indian Tourism Conference, which drew a record number of registrants in 2020. As CEO of the only national association dedicated to Indigenous tourism, she is the leading voice when it comes to advocating for travel and tourism as a significant economic driver in tribal nations. She also holds leadership positions on various national boards, including the board of directors for the U.S. Travel Association, the America 250 Hospitality and Tourism Advisory Committee, and the Office of National Marine Sanctuary System Business Advisory Council under the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration Department of Commerce. Sherry, welcome.
Thank you, Bianca. And to get started, let's just give a look again at the IANTA mission. Some of you may have caught some of it was mentioned in Bianca's introduction and background of IANTA, but the mission is to define and introduce, grow, and sustain American Indian, Alaska Native, and Native Hawaiian tourism that honors traditions and values. And for the visitor outreach program specifically, the objective is to provide technical assistance and training through AITC, or the American Indian Tourism Conference, which some of you may have already attended this last year, Go International, which is coming up, webinars, experiential trade show opportunities, engagement for Native America.travel, familiarization tours, and media outreach. So hopefully some of you, if not all of you, have engaged in some capacity with the visitor outreach program already. I've only been at IANTA for 5 months now, and of course I'm learning from all of our members, our partners, and utilizing my previous skills to prepare and implement programming for each of your businesses to further develop and promote your destinations and experiences to both domestic and international markets. So a little overview of the training that we do offer for the visitor outreach program. I mentioned AITC, we had a session there. And the objective of the session was really similar to what we're doing today, although we're focusing on the travel trade manual. The AITC session really went over the program as a whole. And then we had some panelists from some of our IANTA members who've attended travel trade shows with us to introduce and explain their experiences in those in these training opportunities. Of course, we have our webinars. This is one of them today. We have another one in March. It's a Go International preview. And so we will talk about marketing the mission of your business. If you haven't thought about that yet, that's definitely a good place to start when you want to start thinking about getting your business into the global market. What is the mission of your business? So we'll go over that in March. We'll also have a webinar later on in the year to be announced. Go International is one of our in-house training sessions that we provide. It's a 2-day training. It's going to happen April 18th through the 19th in Albuquerque at the Indian Pueblo Cultural Center. There'll be a link dropped into the chat for you to access more information on that. Registration is open, and we do have sponsorship opportunities available as well. So you can visit our website for more information on those. And we have our session themes compiled, and we are reaching out to our speakers. So we have a phenomenal lineup of topics to get you ready to advance your business, your destination and experience into the international travel and trade markets. An overview of some of the trade shows that we engage with at IANTA is Brand USA Travel Week. Sherry was able to go over there and be a panelist on an enrichment session, keeping it local. And she took 37 appointments with tour operators and media. So if you're not at these travel trade shows, we want to help you get to these destinations so you too, for your own business, can have 37 to 40 to 60 appointments with tour operators and media in the international market. Some of those opportunities are domestic. And so the National Tour Association's Travel Exchange happened in Reno, Nevada in November. We weren't able to attend, although we were invited. So I hope others were able, some of our IANTA members were able to attend that and again, take appointments to begin getting on the itineraries of some of our international tour operators. We have Go West coming up in Anchorage, Alaska. The event takes place February 27th through March 2nd. And we have a special registration fee for IANTA members. So if you're interested in that, there will be a link in the chat box where you can go find more information on Go West, but also on our special registration rate for IANTA members. IPW is another, it's one of the world's leading travel trade shows, bringing in thousands of people. I was fortunate to attend last year. This year it'll be in San Antonio, Texas, May 20th through the 24th. And we are soliciting for IANTA booth partners. So that means you would be within our booth and we would share some of the appointments. I think that's a great experience if you're just starting off into the global marketplace. And we also have Tribal Row for some who are maybe more established and are ready to take on their own appointments throughout the rapid 3 or 4 day event. So definitely you can look at our website for more information. That link will also be dropped into the chat box. And if you have any questions on Go West or IPW and the upcoming opportunities in either of those events, please don't hesitate to reach out. We want to make sure that we not only prepare you for attending these events, how to maintain presence while there, and then the follow-up after. So that's exactly what the Travel Trade Manual is here for you to utilize to prepare yourself for the global market. There's a couple others that happen worldwide, Showcase Italy, Scandinavian Travel. So if you're interested in attending these larger international trade shows at international destinations, please let us know and we can continue to forward you information on this. We also do fam tours. Some of you may have been part of these in the past. In 2022, we have a Southern California fam tour that was postponed. So we're planning on that early February. And this is our opportunity to help you highlight your destination with tour operators, bringing them to your location and really allowing you to host them and showcase all of the offerings that you have for your destination experiences. in 2023. This year, we have the Southeast Alaska FAM, so that's going to be happening in May. We have 20 destinations and experiences planned for that FAM tour. So again, this is an opportunity to highlight your destination and have tour operators and media out there seeing what it is that you have to offer and adding it to their itineraries or putting into publications that reach international audiences. 2024 is to be announced. So hang tight on that. Maybe you'll be one of our destinations and experiences we work with in 2024. Pass it over to Sherry.
Thank you, Sierra. In 2008, IANTA began international outreach, attending our first international trade show, ITB Berlin, in 2009. The international travel market has shown an increased year-over-year appetite for Indian country tourism experiences. While international tourism numbers were expected to and did crash in 2020, recent meetings at IPW 2022 and Brand USA's Travel Week in Frankfurt, Germany, that Sierra was just talking about, were promising, as we heard interest in travel to American Indian, Alaska Native, and Native Hawaiian destinations. International travelers seek authentic and unique cultural experiences, which creates ample opportunities for IANTA members to welcome the international market to your communities. So we're interested in knowing how many of you have international visitors at your destination or experience, and where are they primarily from? So if you could just share that with us quickly in the chat, we would appreciate that. I hear a lot from people. They talk about visitors from Germany, from Canada, and some of the other countries. So we'd appreciate that information from you. Well, thank you. Thank you for sharing. Oh, South America, Colombia. Great Basin all the way. I think I know who that comment's from. So to increase the visitors, our programming aims to help you get from business ready to visitor ready to export ready.
Thanks, Sherry, and thanks everyone for sharing. I still see some comments coming in, sharing where some of your international guests are coming from. That's great information for us to have, and hopefully we can provide you with some insight into some of the international interest. Where is it coming from for us, and how can we make that connection between you and those who are interested in visiting? But first, we need to think about how market ready are you? Are you business ready? Are you visitor ready? Are you export ready? And before you read too much into the details, pause and think, what is it that you think you are? Do you think you're business ready? Most of you probably already are doing business. Do you think you're visitor ready? Do you think you're export ready? And then what does that actually mean? So if we want to launch that poll, we can go over what each of these are. So this comes from the Canadian RISE National Guideline for Authentic Indigenous Tourism Experiences, and they have it categorized into 3 ways to be market ready. And so in reading these, sorry, I'm gonna move the poll. If you can remove the poll for a second, I will go over these first so folks have an idea. What you think and what you actually are might be a little bit different once we read some of these descriptions. Okay, so business ready, that enables new startups, entrepreneurs, and others entering the market to get recognized for meeting good business practices. Most businesses in this category tend to focus on local markets. Okay, visitor ready. If you're visitor ready, this is for tourism businesses that are seeking to attract visitors beyond local markets. These businesses may be expanding and increasing their capacity, such as by serving larger groups or extending your operational season. Generally, these businesses are mature, having operated for a minimum of 2 to 3 years. They have well-established operational policies and procedures that enable the business to grow and manage more risk. So if that explains you, you're visitor ready. For export ready, you are focused on international visitor markets and have added the capacity to manage specialized travel trade services for visitors from a broad range of culturally diverse markets. Export-ready businesses are part of a larger travel trade ecosystem. To be successful, most rely on business relationships with tour operators, destination marketing organizations, and various travel distribution channels. Okay, so now when we look at the poll, where do you think your company lies within business ready, visitor ready, or export ready? And maybe you're somewhere in between. So go ahead and take a moment to look at that. Go ahead and log in your answers. Give everyone another second. Okay, so when we look at the results, we have folks who are mostly visitor ready, which is great, but we want to get everyone to export ready, right? We want to be able to have these larger groups, have the capacity to manage the specialized travel, and be prepared for a broad range of culturally diverse markets. So the travel trade manual that we'll go over today is just an introduction to this great manual that you can go through to really take your business, your destination from business ready and visitor ready to export ready. I'll pass it back over to you, Sherry.
Hold on one second.
Thank you all for getting that poll done. I know a lot of you are like, yeah, we're export ready, but then when you start to really read into the details, it's like, wait a sec, we maybe aren't doing all the things that we need to really make the experience at our destination exactly what we want it to be for the international market. So please, as we continue to go through the PowerPoint and the presentation today, take time to reflect. That's a big part of why we did that, was to reflect. First, we don't know where we're at until we stop and think about it. And then if you have any questions or there's something in particular that you would like assistance on, feel free to shoot me an email or put it into the chat box. I did see one from Jeremy already asking for more information on the international trade shows.
Okay. So for hospitality businesses looking to welcome group travelers and overseas visitors, the best path to success is introducing a new business paradigm that involves working with an intricate network of external businesses, collectively known as the travel trade. These businesses, the retail travel agents, receptive operators, international wholesalers, and other distribution partners that make up the travel trade, can help native-owned organizations build a consistent flow of domestic and international visitors. The partnerships you develop on this path will allow you to better showcase your destinations to the world. Working with the travel trade market can be an intimidating experience, especially for tribes and destinations used to managing their tourism with only an in-house team. But when done correctly, it can help open up new markets, attract more visitors to your destination, and encourage them to spend more time and money exploring your culture and heritage. It's also important to know that with the continual release of new and emerging technologies, the frequently shifting consumer demands on the ongoing changes in global policies, there is no one-size-fits-all path to success in working with the travel trade. Each journey is as individual as the destination looking to share their stories with this market. Whether you've worked with the travel trade for years or are just beginning your journey, it's my pleasure to introduce the Travel Trade Manual, a planner for Indigenous tourism professionals produced by IANTA. This guide is designed as a learning tool to help you build your travel trade marketing plan and be inspired by native businesses who have developed their own successful tour programs that respectfully highlight their culture and heritage. It was also designed to demonstrate that building successful tour programs can be managed in a way that works for you and allows you to continue to manage your own stories and experiences. And that's something that we hear all the time from tribal communities is, how do we manage travelers coming to our communities. So we're hoping that this manual is very helpful to you. The travel trade, a complex network of global travel providers, is an important market for travel suppliers looking to expand their reach, especially those hoping to attract group business and international travelers. These intermediaries promote your business, sell to global customers, and create an essential link between your destination or experience and incremental business. The travel trade are the tourism industry organizations that operate as intermediaries and include receptive tour operators or RTOs, outbound tour operators, domestic tour operators, travel advisors, online travel agents or OTAs, and the global distribution system. RTOs or receptive tour operators, also referred to as inbound tour operators, specializing in packaging and or handling ground arrangements for incoming visitors to a destination. They tend to be experts in the destination or rely on their partners to provide that expertise. And they develop programs and itineraries for tour operators and travel agents, which include elements such as sightseeing, airport transfers, restaurant reservations, accommodations, and other components for groups, fully independent travelers, or both. Outbound tour operators are travel promoters who sell outbound tourism experiences. Outbound tour operators are located in the country where their clients are traveling from. They have knowledge of local demographics and their clients' values and motivations, and they promote vacation products accordingly. Domestic tour operators put together travel packages and sell them to domestic travelers within a traveler's home country. Domestic tour operators generally specialize in tours of national parks, scenic byways, urban getaways, train travel, and more. They also frequently combine several package components into an inclusive itinerary and sell them as multi-destination getaways to travelers within their own country. Travel advisors have a direct link to consumers and are relationship-driven with their clients. These sellers of travel, also frequently called travel agents, retail agents, or brick-and-mortar travel agents, make their revenue either through commissions or by offering a fee-based service. Online travel agents, or OTAs, like Expedia and Priceline, sell products almost exclusively via the web and have a broad and vast reach. Expedia alone has a number of brands within their family of more than 220 retail travel franchisees. OTAs offer packaged travel for many destinations, but their main focus is on hotels, flights, activities in larger cities, and some packaged options, which can include anything from car rentals to cruise departures. A high percentage of fully independent travel, or FIT, is booked through OTAs. However, OTAs also offer group bookings. GDS, or Global Distribution System. While once upon a time the travel industry was operated strictly through personal relationships, telephone calls, and fax machines, today's industry is almost exclusively powered by interconnected digital technology. This technology and how it serves its customers is rapidly changing, but a significant amount of sales transactions between suppliers, wholesalers, retailers, and consumers is powered by one of 6 global distribution systems known as GDS. The oldest and still in operation today GDS is the Semi-Automated Business Research Environment, or SABRE, which started as a partnership between IBM and American Airlines, which was specifically designed to help American Airlines automate its reservation service. While Expedia is generally referred to as an online retail travel agent, it is also one of the world's 6 leading GDS companies. Travel suppliers looking to work with the travel trade must have the technological abilities to sell their product, whether individual components or packaged itineraries, through a GDS platform. Each company has traditionally played a distinct role by offering specific services, but in today's rapidly changing technological society, the boundaries between company types are shifting, with many operating at multiple levels across the supply chain. So as you can see, it's a very intricate system, and I think the Travel Trade Manual will help you to better understand the travel trade.
I really like one of the examples somebody said at one of the previous conferences. You're not going to be, you as a travel tourism destination or experience, set up an office in Germany, maybe not today and maybe not in 10 years, to have those walk-in appointments made. So really having this network, you know, maybe you don't have, maybe you're not involved in all of these stepwise interactions, but if you have, at least if you're on Expedia, let's say, or you have a domestic or international wholesaler who you're working with, you know, that's a big step to really bring some more folks in. So this diagram can be overwhelming, but if you can find a couple places to elevate your destination and experiences, it'll cut out a lot of work for you trying to directly reach the folks who you want to reach. Okay, so here's an example, some of our examples that are debunking the stereotypes of natives. And so group tours have been a popular form of travel for centuries. Today, however, group tourists often get a bad rap as they are erroneously lumped into stereotypical image of boisterous, ethnocentric, quasi-bully, seeking quantity over quality as they try to cram 10 cities into 3 days of travel. So when you think about group travel or these international large groups, you might think of a certain stereotype. And actually what we're seeing is there's some native program to be successful in providing these anti-tourist experiences where we actually see authentic experiences, smaller groups, and settings where you can really get to know one another. So the first example is Nez Perce Tourism. In researching her new company, Station Morphine, found that there were 164 businesses in the Lewis and Clark Valley, and 90% of them were telling the story of the Nez Perce. None of them were owned or operated by Nez Perce natives. Knowing that, Station Morphine knew there was a huge opportunity for her company. Today, her business offers a variety of interactive tours created to connect visitors to Nimiipuu culture. Programs include boat tours, Appaloosa horseback riding, rafting on the sacred riverbeds of the Nez Perce, as well as 2 or 3 day tours where visitors can encounter a comprehensive sweep of Nez Perce experiences, including petroglyph viewing, wildlife and bird watching, and cultural demonstration. And you can see the quote here: visitors don't want to go to a national park and meet someone in a hat sharing the story of you. They want to meet you, Stacia said. They want to hear your songs and hear the drum beat. And I can't attest to that more, being right here in the Lewis Clark Valley myself, and having worked with Nez Perce Tourism. We have a national park here, and it's one experience to visit folks who are in their park uniform telling about this, you know, historical things. But when you have someone alive in front of you who's vibrant and telling you their life experience today, it's a whole different experience that people walk away. Another example is Pueblo of Acoma. It's built atop a 367-foot sandstone bluff in the valley studded with sacred towering monoliths. The Pueblo of Acoma is the oldest continuously inhabited community in North America. Acoma offers visitors the privilege of having an inside look at their people's cultural and traditions, and have been carried on through generations. In doing so, the Pueblo has placed an extreme importance on visitors practicing proper etiquette and respect when visiting tribal land. To ensure that visitors adhere to these regulations, the Acoma Tribal Council put together a set of guidelines that all guests are required to follow when visiting the Pueblo. The guidelines highlight visitor etiquette, photography guidelines, and a dress code. And you can see the quote there. The Pueblo has placed an extreme importance on visitors practicing proper etiquette and respect when visiting tribal land. So it's not just come and see our things, come and learn how to be, right? Not just how to be like us, but just how to be. And teaching folks etiquette is such an important part. And they want to understand those cultural protocols. Another example here is Tatanka Res Tours. It's Native owned and operated and is based on the Pine Ridge Indian Reservation in southwestern South Dakota. It's run by a father-daughter team, Warren and Tiana Yellowhair. Tatanka Res Tours offers guided tours throughout the entire Pine Ridge Reservation. Rather than offering a standard tourist experience, the tours provide guests with an opportunity to learn the language, the culture, and the history of the Lakota people. And a couple other examples here is Sitka Tribal Tours, and a quote I'll read: all guides employed by Sitka Tribal Tours are residents of the community and participate in annual team training led by Tlingit leaders and local historians. The next one, Be Native Tours out of Chickasaw Nation and then Navajo Nation Parks and Recreation. A quote from them: anybody can create a tour operation and be successful as long as they stay true to what they're doing. And a lot of us who are here, it is in that realm of cultural tourism. So keeping that at the forefront of your tourism operations really provides something that is off the beaten path, that is authentic, that is what a lot of our international visitors are striving to experience, rather than what we may have perceived in the past are these large groups who are just wanting to hurry through and get their picture, or hurry through and say, I saw this and I saw this and I saw this. Now folks are wanting to say, I experienced and I transformed due to this destination I traveled to. So there'll be some links dropped into the chat box on some additional resources for interpreting culture, how to run a successful tourism business, one of our previous webinars, and then developing your own native tourism business. So a lot of tips in there in the link that'll be in the chat box shortly. So again, are you ready to welcome international travelers? So we did that initial checklist of kind of reflecting where you're at. Are you business ready? Are you visitor ready? Are you export ready? But welcoming travelers from international markets frequently involves building strong relationships with the tribal trade network, which Sherry went over. But additionally, this is negotiated business, often requires the multi-year planning, the signing of multi-legal documents and contracts, and at least a year before you welcome your first visit. So it is going to take some time to get folks onto the land with you at your destination, but there's no better day to start than today. As a casual approach to attracting this business can quickly lead to frustration and failure if you don't have a plan in place. And so we're here to help you get a plan in place. And over these next couple slides, we'll also launch a poll to see for you to reflect again on your business operations. So when we think about, are we export ready? When it comes to our business operations, these are some of the forefront things that we need to think about. So if we can have that poll launched, we'll have each of you go through and consider your business operations. The first one, my tribal tourism business has been in operation for 2 or more years. So you'll check all that apply as I read them out. My business has an updated business plan, really important. Of course, if you're wanting to plan for export ready in the next 3 to 5 years. My business plan can guarantee price and capacity up to 18 months ahead of visitor travel. My business has sufficient operating capital to cover the 18-month to 5-year period before we receive payments from contracted travel trade businesses. And I think maybe that's 18-month is probably more realistic. The 5-year period may be something if it's really large bookings that we're talking about. But I think to start out, the contract period would be a little bit more concise. So hopefully everybody had a chance to go through and click where you're at for your business operations. And if we can take a look at the poll results. Okay, so good. What we want to see on all of these, right, is a lot of folks having clicked them. So we have 2 with 83% of you responding and 2 with you responding a little bit less. So in thinking about where you're at in bringing international visitors. The spots that you didn't check, okay, let's go back and revisit where we're at on those. How can we update our business plan? Do we need assistance on that? Where do we get the assistance? I know a lot of us in our travel companies, in our tourism businesses and operations, you're so busy doing the work of running and actually making the business go forward, the day-to-day operations. But really this back-end planning is so important to be successful, and I can't emphasize that enough. Okay. So as you go through this is also in the travel trade manual, so you can revisit it and go through and check again and see where you need to delegate some of your time to. You know, if it's once a month in your planning, if it's every other Friday, you have a meeting with your team to begin updating your business plan. Whatever it takes, you know, you really got to plan in that time to be successful. Okay, the next thing we want to look at is legal operations. So go ahead and launch the poll. We'll have you each go through again these set of questions to see how where you're at in your legal operations. Okay, so my business understands and follows international consumer protection laws. If you're not familiar with those, before we hop into the business of international consumers, we should probably understand some of the protection laws. My business has and communicates alternate plans for variations in schedule, such as tribal closures, weather disruptions, global crises like we just experienced, and or loss of a guide or key cultural work, right? So in our communities, sometimes we're so close-knit, if there's a loss, we might have to reschedule things, and we need to be able to communicate alternate plans for when that arises. Our contracts are reviewed by legal counsel with expertise in contracts and our tribal jurisdiction if necessary. My tribal tourism business holds required and valid operating licenses, permits, and insurance. That's really important to make sure you're in line with. And lastly, we understand that the insurance needs of our international trade partners may vary and are able to accommodate their individual requests. So that would be something you want to work out if you are going to practice with any of the GMOs or any of the OTAs. So just keep that in mind as well. Okay, everyone should have had an opportunity to go through those. Let's see where everyone stands for legal and operations. Okay, so a lot less engagement in these areas for legal and operations, which is really good for us as IANTA to know how can we help you build the capacity to say, yes, we're actually doing these things that are necessary to be export ready, to have these international guests coming to our communities. So again, this is a good place for self-reflection of what is it that you need to work on, and for us as IANTA, how can we help? Okay, the next one, visitor infrastructure. We have directional signage for visitors to locate the events. So go ahead and pop open this poll. Thank you. But first one, we have directional signage for visitors to locations and events. Directional signage. So do we have arrows pointing this way is where we need to go, right? Signage is so important. We have adequate parking for visitors and access for motor coaches, right? We want to make sure we have those motor coach accessibilities or a plan in place to have them meet at certain locations. We have handicap accessible facilities that meet Americans with Disabilities Act, the ADA standards. So do we have aisles that are wide enough for wheelchair access, grab bars in the restrooms, in and out ramps, etc. Really important to consider those. We have restroom facilities available and accessible for use by our visitors. Our restroom facilities are regularly attended with assigned staff and schedules. And our business or event has emergency supplies and or access to medical care. All of these are really important for our visitors' experience. They're in the infrastructure that we have makes or breaks our destinations when it comes to international travelers. So go ahead and take another second to make sure you have those filled out. How are you doing on visitor infrastructure? Okay, let's end this poll and see where everybody's at. Okay, great. We have directional signage for visitors. We have some restroom facilities that are accessible and emergency supplies. Okay, so there is still a lot to be desired, right? When we really start to think about our visitor infrastructure. Some of it may be out of our hands if we're working with a local park, or if we have our sites begin maybe somewhere that's super remote and there's no facilities. Well, how can we make these accommodations that we need to have international travelers come to our destinations? Okay, a couple more here, just to see where everyone's at. Travel trade marketing and materials. Okay, so do we have a marketing plan for targeted international markets? Do we have a marketing plan at all? So both questions there. But do you have one for targeted international markets? Do we work with receptive inbound operators and international wholesalers? We attend international trade shows. We have the capacity to host group tours, 60 or more per tour. We have professional marketing staff and or consultants to identify key markets and conduct outreach in these markets. So do we have professional marketing staff on our team? Are they ready to identify the markets and conduct the outreach? The staff is authorized to sign contracts and negotiate rates with industry representatives and receptive inbound operators. We work with the Department of the Department of Commerce, U.S. Commercial Service offices, and or federal trade representatives in our region. If you don't know who they are, we can put you in touch with the folks that you need to be for your region. We accommodate and host familiarization tours to promote our tribal tourism product during peak seasons. So you yourself can host a fam tour. Are you doing that? And then we can accommodate tours to promote our tourism product during the off season. So are you able to bring folks in during the off season if during the season is not ideal? Okay, so a lot there to consider in the travel trade marketing and materials. We'll go ahead and close the poll and see where everybody's at on that. And again, this is in the travel trade manual, so you can go back and check out there. Okay, so we have a couple who attend international trade shows and accommodating or hosting fam tours during the peak seasons. Okay, so good. It's not a bad thing. This is just where we're at, so we can keep thinking about how can we move forward and really make sure that we're reaching our goals on this. I know some of it might not be relevant to our authentic experiences, like hosting 60 or more people per tour. Nonetheless, it's something to think about and consider. Okay, if we're not going to offer that, how can we really sell this as why is it not available to more per tour? Okay, so as long as you're able to really justify and have reasoning behind, you know, what it is that you're not able to meet on these different standards, that's just as equivalent as being prepared, right? Okay, next one here. Multilingual marketing materials. So I'll just tell a quick story while the poll gets pulled up here. At IPW last year, a language barrier definitely became something that I recognize as we need to have maybe one sheets that have tour information in other languages. And even just for general communication of introducing your product, let alone when you have people come onto your site, how are you going to navigate maybe language barriers that arise? So when you check out these, we offer marketing materials translated for our targeted international markets. If Germany is your international market that you're targeting, then you should have your promo materials in German. Same thing for any of the destinations that you may be considering for your international markets. Multilingual brochures and guides. And that's not like a person as a guide. It's a handheld, a print document guide or an audio guide. Okay. Multilingual website and social media information. Luckily now there's a lot of great resources to get your website and social media information translated through web browsers even. You definitely want to have this next one, multilingual proofreaders and editors to check the above materials. Nothing more embarrassing than trying to sell your product to the market and your translation is not correct. That could be a big misstep. So you want to make sure your materials are proofread prior to any publications of them to the target market. Multilingual guides, you want to make sure you have all of these set up. And then lastly, I just check the time, multilingual marketing staff to handle outreach to these markets. So go ahead and check all those. You can go ahead and close the poll. Let's see where we are at. Okay, that's fine. You know, as we start to come through and make these considerations for where we're at, it's important to reflect and say this is something that we need to work on to make sure that we are ready for international visitors. This next slide hits on the rates, and I'll just read over these. We don't need to launch the poll, I don't think. But our general rates and or admission fees are printed and publicly available, so you want to have them on your website. A lot of folks in the international market say we want to be able to have those available, not only for their protection as well, to say, you know, make sure that they're getting a fair price if we're going through different parties. We offer rack rates, generally the advertised rate of a room or package, but the price factors in or allows for discounting by the travel trade. We can accommodate net rates and commission payments in our posted rates, and we offer travel agencies net rates or commission fees. So in the pricing of these larger package deals that you may arrange, you want to make sure that you leave in pricing gaps so that those who you're working with can also benefit from the work that's being done from the partnership. So that is covered in the Travel Trade Manual, how to effectively price your products.
Great, thanks, Sierra. And that's another thing I was going to mention was, you know, we're going through this information really fast, but you do have the manual available to you, and it is on our website for you to download if you would like to. So this next slide is on working with international travel companies. Global travel company Destination America has been a consistent innovator in guiding tours and vacations since its inception in 1990, and is known for developing immersive travel experiences. The key to the company's success, according to CEO and President Richard Launder, is building partnerships. Without partnerships, he said, the company wouldn't have anywhere to send travelers. Richard, along with Destination America travel experiences developer Anand, I can't pronounce his last name, Noctiler, spoke with IANTA to offer tips for Indigenous communities looking to build stronger travel trade relationships. Both Richard and Anand agree that travelers around the world are increasingly looking for ways to connect with communities. They are looking to learn, said Anand, and he emphasizes this trend will continue to grow. Cultural tourism, especially, he said, will grow even more. When working with travel suppliers, Anand says, Destination America relies upon a three-pronged framework. Step 1, understanding what works and what doesn't to develop and deliver successful experiences. For Anand, a successful partnership starts with an engaged, passionate partner. A lot of travelers are looking for experiences, he said. For us, the experience starts with someone who is a storyteller. He also identified knowledge, charisma, consistency, and reliability as ideal character traits. We want to know that someone can cover if something goes wrong, he said. He also relies upon partners who are flexible when it comes to accommodating traveler needs. Step 2, understanding the guests. When planning any tour itinerary, he recommends suppliers ask these questions. Where are your guests from? So kind of the first question we asked today. Where have they already been on this trip? What have they already seen? You don't want to share the same information as the last tour they were on or the same as their next tour. Be original. What are they interested in? What might seem mundane to one person might be interesting to someone else. How mobile or active are they? You never want to put anyone in a situation where they are physically uncomfortable. How old are they? Interests will vary largely depending on age range. Tailor your tours to age, or ensure your tours will be intriguing to everyone, no matter their age. Step 3, the 6 stages of development. Stage 1 is to define the experience together. Prior to this step, it's important that Native communities have a plan in place of what they can and want to share with travelers. Some things to consider are how much of your community you are willing or allowed to share. How much time is required for a visit? How does seasonality impact the experience? Do you have access to passionate storytellers or elders? And do you have the ability to create a variety of experiences for your visitors? Stage 2 is understanding delivery of the experience. Something Destination America makes sure to highlight in this step is to be aware of long lead times. It can take 12 to 14 months from the first discussion of the partnership to the actual delivery of travelers. As far as the actual experience, Destination America especially values authenticity, meaningfulness, variety, reliability, and consistency when selecting partners. Similarly, Destination America encourages Native businesses to be selective in who they partner with. Stage 3 is understanding infrastructure. When it comes to infrastructure, be clear about what you expect from visitors coming to your lands and make sure those expectations are explicitly written into your contract. It is also important to highlight logistics about parking, bathrooms, accommodations, so your guests and travel partners are not surprised when they arrive. Stage 4, pricing. Pricing can be a make or break proposition for both your partners and your guests. Not everyone can afford the same things. Be willing to negotiate with partners and offer different tours with different price options for a variety of traveler types. Stage 5 is contracting. Most good tour operators will want to sign contract before including your destination in their program, as they have a responsibility to deliver the experience they promised to their clients. It is important to tour operators that their partners understand and support that. Before signing any contract, be sure that everything is clearly and accurately outlined in order to prevent conflicts with your partners in the future. In the meantime, when problems arise, keep an open line of communication with your partners. Destination America has created a simple one-page contract that usually doesn't require a lawyer to review, but explicitly defines dates, numbers of passengers, rates, and what's included in the experience. Provide marketing support, stage 6. Lastly, be willing to provide your partners with marketing support before and after the trip. When working with tour operators, marketing is a mutually beneficial tool, so be willing to invest the time in outreach and promotion. A marketing team isn't necessarily critical, but being able to provide great images to showcase your experience is. Also, being willing and prepared to do interviews or share your content helps Destination America educate its internal sales agents so they can better sell your experience. So I can't tell you how many times, when we're at travel trade shows where the travel agents are coming up to me and asking, what can we do in Indian country and what type of experiences do you have? So they're ready to come to Indian country. So any way in which we can help you get through these stages, we're happy to do so.
Yeah, thank you. And in the chat box, there will be more information on Destination America, and then again, the visitor outreach program, so we can help you get through those stages, as Sherry mentioned. We are winding down on time. some additional topics in the travel trade manual. And so for sake of time, I'll just briefly mention these: the itineraries versus packaging. There's an itinerary planner provided in the travel trade manual, as well as a guideline for packaging your destination. And you might think, what is the difference between an itinerary and a package? The difference is nothing more than the saleability of the collective items on an itinerary. So selling a package on a site like Expedia.com or to FITs, for example, may only include overnight accommodations, breakfast, and admission passes to a local museum or attraction. Whether or not you're ready for packaging, endeavor to include suggested itineraries in your outreach materials to continue to build awareness for your area businesses. So really think about itineraries versus packaging. What do you have to offer versus what does your area have to offer? And how can you partner together to get a full-on package for your destination? Some other topics: controlling tourism through guided interpretation. Again, Acoma City has a great example of that. You can drop into the chat box a link to their guidelines. That will be helpful for that. Guided fishing, hunting, and wildlife tours. Those are some of my personal favorites. And for the Blackfeet Outfitters, they left us a great quote. "Our mission is to provide an exclusive, knowledgeable, and culturally rich experience through Native first voice recreational interpretive guiding while promoting wilderness ethics and protecting Montana's natural resources." So what better way than to go on a guided hunting, fishing, or wildlife trip than through a Native perspective? And people are really interested in that. So that's another option for viable tribal enterprises. Another section in the travel trade manual: why hire professionally trained guides? This is something I've had multiple conversations with folks about. And there is a guide and outfitter recognized professional program. That link will be dropped into the chat box here in a moment as well. But it's gorpguide.org. And so ensuring Native guides are professionally trained can make all the difference in the quality of your tour program and the experience guests have at your site. This is especially important for Native destinations to ensure guests and site owners know their guides have been trained and educated on what can and can't be shared. So hiring professional trained tour guides also ensures consistency throughout your program, which is especially important to tours that interpret Native culture and traditions. And the last one, I'll pass back over to Sherry to talk about working with the U.S. Commercial Service.
Thanks, Sierra. Yeah, this is an area in which IANTA has been working in for quite some time, and we're looking at expanding that with a potential MOA with the U.S. Commercial Service in this next year. The U.S. Commercial Service is an agency under the U.S. Department of Commerce, and they are a global network of experienced trade professionals located throughout the United States and in U.S. embassies and consulates worldwide. They work to help domestic businesses market their products overseas, as well as to promote international visitation to the U.S. Whether businesses are looking to market their destination internationally for the first time or expand to additional markets, the U.S. Commercial Service has the expertise to connect you with international tourism buyers and media to help attract international travelers. So IANTA partners can also contact a member of the IANTA team or Aaron Davidson. He is the global team's leader for travel and tourism for the U.S. Commercial Service to help connect you with the right local office. Once in touch with your local commercial service office, there are several ways they can assist in attracting international visitors to you. They can do this by developing promotional and educational events, increasing traffic at your trade show booth, providing access to trade and consumer media, creating awareness programs with local partners, and finding travel distribution partners.
Great. Thank you. And there is a great page of resources at the end of the travel trade manual as well. Some of these we already provided to you. The rest you can find in the travel trade manual here. So for Native-owned hospitality businesses and tribal enterprises, IANTA offers a variety of promotional marketing and education programs, many for no charge. Some of these opportunities were previously mentioned at the beginning of the webinar with Bianca talking about the Cultural Heritage Certificate programs. Also, some of the programs that we offer out of the Visitor Outreach program with the webinars, the Travel Trade Show experiences, as well as Go International. You can find this in the Travel Trade Manual and the links provided previously. We'll send out a follow-up email from this webinar with many of the links as well. With that, I want to thank everyone for their time and their engagement in this opportunity to learn about where you are in being export ready and welcoming in folks from the international markets. I think we might have time for 1 or 2 questions or comments. Otherwise, I'll scan the chat here for a second and see if there's anything that comes in. Carrie, any last words?
No, I'd just like to thank everybody for joining us today. We're really, I think Sierra's doing a really great job of developing this program and getting you all involved and getting you to market ready.
Okay, again, thank you everyone. Imakis Katsiyayo. We will be in touch. If you have any questions, there is my email on there, cgreen, E at the end of green, @ianta.org. And of course, you can find my information on the emails that you have been receiving regarding this webinar, as well as a follow-up email from the webinar. So please do share this information within your teams and with anybody else in your networks who can benefit. The Travel Trade Manual is available online for download. So that link has been shared in the chat a couple of times now. So Katsiyayo, everyone, and we will be in touch.